Hello everyone, my name is Marion with DTM Real Talk Channel. It's the channel that you can tune into, have the ability to listen to the thoughts of others about topics all over the world that touch every one of our lives. Everybody goes through basically the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. So if you're going through, someone else has already been there. Maybe you can find hope. Maybe it's a pathway that can set you on the right road just by tuning in. So DTM Real Talk, just keeping it real. And if you like it, like us at the bottom, subscribe, and let us know just how we helped you. Just keeping it real. Nothing but love. Hey guys, we are back on a great big Sunday, and I've got special guests. Kristen, Marc, say hi to the people.
Hi people.
Y'all know we're rolling with marriage these past couple of weeks. So Kristen and Marc are coming to share with us about their marriage, what they've been going through, how they met, a few challenges they may have had when they met, and how they overcame it, and where some of their journey and where they are now. Simple as that. And first of all, I'm going to address the first question. I didn't even ask you guys how long you were married. How long have you been married?
29 years in August.
Oh, Lord, thank you.
1992.
Okay. And where are you guys from?
I'm from here.
I'm from St. Pete, Florida.
What is here?
New Orleans.
Oh, you're from New Orleans. Okay, gotcha. And you're from?
St. Petersburg, Florida.
Florida? How
Yes,
did
ma'am.
that happen?
Well, I had a mother and I had a father. They lived in St. Pete. And
Well, how did y'all meet? You know what I'm trying to say.
After college, went to graduate school at UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham. And we had a really small orientating class.
Yeah, there were eight students in our class.
I was the last one to walk in,
class.
like I always am the last one to walk in everywhere.
Uh-huh.
I looked around and sat next to the best looking guy at the table. And
I was sitting next to that guy. So
Oh, you were sitting next to the best guy.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
And you just decided to let her choose the best guy. I got you.
But then,
So-
so we met in graduate school and just started hanging out. She came in, she was from New Orleans, and she was really
Flamboyant.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Fun.
She's
Okay.
extrovert. I've always been more of a more introverted type, not really an introvert, but just I go to a party and she's not there. I wait until she shows up so that she can drag me around and I can get to know her. That type of thing. And so we were attracted as friends right away. And she and I and one other girl were like best friends, hung out together all the time.
And then
In fact,
we left for Christmas.
right.
And he says all he did was talk about me to his friends, and they all said, "Why aren't you dating her?" And he said,
I don't remember.
he said, all the pretty girls are either
No, I wrote that in a letter.
crazy or Jesus freaks.
Yeah, I said, how come all the really hot girls are either crazy or Jesus freaks?
Oh my gosh.
And that was Kristen. So I grew up Jewish and really had walked away from being Jewish for a couple of years when I met Kristen, and she was always wanting to talk about Jesus, and I, didn't know what to do with that.
Okay.
But she was so full of life, and I wasn't. I really didn't have life at all. In fact, I didn't even know if love existed. I just didn't see any of that. I came from a family where I have 3 moms and 3 dads, and
Okay.
I used to call it a reverse Brady bunch, because
Okay.
and so then she's telling me all this stuff about Jesus, and I didn't want any of that, but I was really attracted to the life that she had in her.
Okay.
So we started dating after Christmas.
But
Yep.
I got to tell you a story before that. What really got me is she and Nancy were good friends. My birthday is end of October. And so we decided that means that it must be a Halloween thing, which if you have a birthday close to Halloween, you really get tired of it always being overshadowed by Halloween because, you know, your birthday should be your own. But they called me up and said, hey, you got to come over. We got something for you.
Okay.
So I go over and they made me a cake. And they didn't have icing.
We had icing. We didn't have orange food coloring.
Was that it? So they used orange tang for the icing on this cake.
Do you remember Tang?
Yeah, the little
Gritty. And that was kind of when I knew I really, really liked this girl.
Oh my gosh, Marc.
I mean, who does this? Who makes a tang cake? And then, you know, so they waited.
Right now, people are Googling Tang.
Right.
What is Tang?
Tang was like the thing when I was a kid. Tang was what the astronauts used to drink, you know, so.
Right.
I remember, you know, they gave me a piece of this and it was, I think you made it into a
nasty.
pumpkin or something.
Yeah.
And I'm eating it and they wouldn't eat it. They were just staring at me, you know.
Oh, they fixed it for you and they wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we just became best friends.
Okay.
I mean, we were
We're
together.
still best friends.
And the funny thing is that whole fall term, so from October, November, December, we were together nonstop.
Wow.
Everybody in our class used to say, are you guys dating? We're like, no, we're not
No.
dating. We're just friends. And then we went home for Christmas and I realized, man, yeah, she is my best friend. And why
Wow.
dating? You know, why wouldn't I want to date my best friend? So come January, we started dating and then we didn't tell anybody. And then they didn't believe us a couple months later when they found out we really were dating. So
Okay.
that's how
So
we
you
met.
were dating and
Mhm.
and how long did you date before you got married?
We dated 10 months and we were engaged 10 months.
Yep.
But we
Oh,
were
awesome.
older.
We got married at 25 and 24.
I was 22
Right?
and he was 24.
Right.
Okay.
We met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got married in August, 2 months before I turned 26, and she's a year and a half younger.
Right. So do you guys have any children?
Yes. We
Yes, we
have
do.
3. We have 4.
All grown.
We have 4. They're all grown. I gave birth to 3 and God gave us one along the way. So
Okay. And do you got a bonus baby?
yeah, I got a
Absolutely.
baby.
We call that a bonus baby.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys got married. Oh, go ahead. You was about to say something.
No, go ahead.
No, because so you guys got married. No, my dad told me, I gotta say this. My dad said, you need to really see a person at the height, a guy, if you're dating, at the height of his anger to see how he handles pressure. Did that ever happen to you, Chrissy?
Yeah. It's really funny. This part isn't funny, but I was raised by 2 women, my mom and my grandmother, because my dad died when I was 6.
Okay.
And my mom never even dated because she didn't, she wanted to protect me and didn't want, to introduce me to
Right.
people that were not part of our lives. And my uncle was a big part of my life, but besides that, I really didn't have men
Right.
that was around day in and day out. And it kind of freaked me out when we first got married for a long time when he'd get mad because I was like, oh, why are you mad? So I'm used to what a woman looks like when they're angry, but not what a man looks like. And Marc does this funny thing. He sticks his bottom teeth out like this when he gets mad. And I'm like, why are you making that face?
It was weird. I
and
didn't know
would
what she was
always,
talking about for the longest time.
I would tell him I never got mad, but I would go in the bathroom and cry.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
I'd say,
Until
"Why are
I
you
got
angry?"
pregnant.
She said, I'm not angry.
I got pregnant the first time.
Why are you upset? I'm not upset. I don't get upset. Why aren't you calm right now? I'd have to try to figure out what word to say.
Okay.
It's definitely a learning curve. along
Okay.
those lines. I
Yeah.
mean, he didn't yell or anything, but he
Right.
got kind of growly. His voice got kind of growly.
You knew he wasn't the same person. You knew something was going on.
And then when I got pregnant, I learned how to get mad
Oh, my
and fight,
goodness.
like argue and stick up for myself because
Uh-huh.
I was hit at one time. And then my motto while I was pregnant was just get over it to him, because
So we went from this relationship where she was always, she wasn't a pushover. She's never been a pushover.
Uh-huh.
Very strong-willed, but more easygoing, I guess, you know.
Okay.
And we had, in fact, a lot of times it wasn't a
healthy.
thing because I would run over her.
Mhm.
If I can remember everything that
Yeah.
we fought about for the last 5 years,
and
I
just
bring it
get
all up.
emotional and would like shut down.
And she couldn't remember past like 20 seconds
So I
ago
had no
in an argument.
ammunition.
Right.
Right.
And so I'd steamroll her, and that was not healthy. And she didn't know how to stand up for herself.
Right.
And all of a sudden she gets pregnant and everything flips. She's running me over. She's like, I'm crying while she's pregnant. And I'm crying like, oh, I don't know what to do. And she's like, well, just get over it.
You didn't cry.
So Marc, would you say that part of your behavior came from maybe stimulated from your past?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't, I never saw a healthy marriage in my family. No,
Right.
None of my close family or even extended family had healthy marriages. Nobody. I saw some other families and their marriage seemed okay. But even in those situations, I never knew anybody that had their original parents.
Okay.
So I didn't know how to be a husband. In fact, the most joyous and most frightening day of my life was when we got married. Because I stood there at the front of the church. I watched her come down the aisle and I did cry then.
Yeah, you did.
Just gorgeous. And I'm thinking, I'm going to screw this up. And so it's the happiest day of my life because this just unbelievably gorgeous woman that I'm crazy about has said that she wants to marry me. And that didn't make any sense at all. And she's coming down that aisle. She looks so beautiful. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, this will last 6 months.
Scared to death.
I've been at weddings where people go, oh, this is going to last 6 months. I was thinking that.
Uh-huh.
And I was terrified. I was terrified for the first couple of years of our marriage because how are we going to make this work? Because, man, we could fight too. We could.
So could you remember one instance that you responded or began to think about what you just told me and you got so angry that he's like, okay, this is going to last 6 months again?
No, because I do have to say that from the very beginning, I was the one telling her, tough, you're stuck with me.
Gotcha.
But I do know that when we would fight,
One time I made him let me out on the side of the highway many times.
Yeah, so like we'd get in a fight in the car.
Mm-hmm.
She'd say, let me out. I'm like, I'm not letting it. There's a 3-lane road. We're doing 45 miles an hour. Let me out. I'm like, there's cars. Stop. Let me out right now or I'm jumping. And so I'd have to stop the car with cars behind beeping at us, going around and get out of the car. And then I'm driving like 5 miles an hour going, will you please get back in the car? And no. And like, this would go on for a mile or 2 miles while she walked home.
Uh-huh.
And I made the mistake one time of saying, fine, I'll meet you at home.
Uh-huh.
No, that was a big.
You go off on the man because he gave you what you wanted.
Of course.
Okay.
Make me look bad.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said, are you going to make me look bad?
We would get in fights and I wouldn't even know where to go. And this was especially true before she got pregnant and could stand up for herself.
Right.
But she, like she said, she'd lock herself in the bathroom and cry. And then I'd be sitting out on the couch waiting, not knowing what to do. And I tell this to young couples all the time. The craziest fight that we had, I'm a big Florida Gators football fan.
Okay.
And in 1995, they were on their way to the national championship. They wound up getting destroyed in the championship game, but they were killing everybody. And I was really, really into it. Well, we get in this big fight at night and she goes and locks herself up in the bathroom. And I mean, for a long time, I mean, maybe like an hour. And so I'm sitting on the couch and I've tried to go to the door a couple times. Come on, babe, no, you don't love me. I'm like, yes, I love you. And all those kind of things. And so I'm sitting on the couch trying to think about the argument and being a good husband and all those. And then I started thinking about football. And I'm thinking about this last week's game and the upcoming game. She picks that moment to come out of the bathroom and say, do you even care that I'm in there crying? Yeah, I do. Oh, yeah? What are you thinking about?
And you told the truth.
Football? Yeah.
That didn't go.
That didn't work too well.
Wow. Wow. So it seems like you guys had your little obstacles, but you worked through them. So what would you say the key component that caused you to come over to work through your obstacles? And early on, not later, not now, but early on, what would you say the key component would have been?
Ephesians. There's a verse in the Bible. Do not let the sun go down upon your anger.
Okay.
And when we started dating, I wasn't Christian. I was just had walked away. I'd grown up Jewish and just walked away from everything. And she said, listen, if we're going to date, there's one thing that we have to agree upon from the very beginning. She said, uncle and aunt say this, and I've seen their marriage, and I think it is what we need to do. And she said, the Bible says, do not let the sun go down upon your anger. And she said, and they take that to mean don't go to bed mad. If we're going to do this, we can never go to bed mad. And honestly, I think that is what saved us in those early
on. Yeah. Beautiful.
Because, you get mad at each other and then you go to bed and you wake up in the morning, you're mad and you don't, and you start to make up reasons why you must be mad. And they're not even the original reasons because you can't remember.
Then you just start to feel bitter. We did go to a lot of marriage conferences and
a lot of marriage conferences,
even though we weren't like having trouble in our marriage, but just to, to
make it better. Yeah,
be better. And we learned a lot of things there. So,
that not going to bed mad too means that, sometimes we'd wake up in the middle of the night and next thing you know, you're in a fight. Now you're looking at, okay, we've only been asleep for 2 hours and I got to get up in 3 hours and we're wasting all this time. You would not believe how
willing you are
to admit you might be wrong
when you want to go to sleep,
when you need some sleep.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me ask you this.
One of the things we learned at a marriage conference that meant a lot to me was if I win, we lose. If he wins, we lose. The only way for us to win is if neither one of us individually wins.
Say that one more time.
So if I win, we lose.
Right.
He wins, we lose. So
and the only way.
The most important thing is the two of us together,
Right. Awesome. Beautiful. So I would like for you guys to address couples out there today that may be struggling with communication, that may be struggling with going to bed mad.
Yeah.
That may be struggling with mainly non-communication. Because sometimes we think as women, sometimes we have stuff going on in our heads and we don't express it. And we expect the man to know what it is. And we haven't communicated that because we still mad about whatever it is that he has no clue about.
Right.
So I would like for you guys to address that next week. I got you. I would like for you guys to address the folks out there next week. That is key component, communication. And I've been interviewing married people for some weeks now, and it's been pretty interesting. You guys are all saying the same thing. So before I let you go and we come back next week, what's your thoughts on I don't know, maybe a husband or I'll tell you, I'll let Christy answer that. Christy, what are your thoughts on a wife, just totally ignoring her husband and won't express, won't communicate? What do you think that's from?
Ignoring her husband?
Yes, ignoring him. What do you think that's from, and what what advice would you give her?
I think it's probably, I think a few things may be going on, like you're in resentment and bitterness at being hurt in the past.
Okay.
To where you're afraid, like a fear of being vulnerable because you may just get hurt again.
Okay.
Or it may be a power play.
Explain that.
Well, I think there's ways you can fight dirty, and you're hoping it'll bring about the result you want, which may be getting your way or being validated in, like, if you've been hurt, like doing something to be validated and feeling the way that you feel.
Okay.
And I think people kind of play mind games with each other, and that may be like a mind game, like
if you really love me,
it's honestly
manipulation. Okay.
And it's not, I'm not saying that accusatorily. I do manipulative things. One of the things I had to quit doing, which a lot of the crying was because I was really hurt or sad, but some of it was I knew it was a manipulative thing.
Just manipulating. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think that's like just women that manipulate.
Right.
But I think we're better at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. And so, Marc, before we go, what do you think? What are your thoughts on a man that may be passive aggressive to his wife? He doesn't hit her, but passive aggressive.
I think a big problem in marriages is a lot of women don't understand how men think, and a lot of men don't understand how women think.
Say that a little louder.
Okay. Most people think that everybody else thinks like they do. And it is especially true with men and women. So women really think that men have the same type of thoughts that they do. And men kind of give up trying to understand how women think. And I've known a lot of men and women and talked to them about these things over the years. And I've found that women think a lot more than men do. Okay, there are basically 4 or 5 things that a man is thinking about at any given time. Sports is a big one.
Your job.
A lot of men get their identity out of their job. So that's what they're thinking about a lot of times. They might be thinking about their pursuits, the free time pursuits that they have outside of everything else, like if they have a boat or they fish or anything like that. And it's just basic things. And they're thinking about their wife. And those are the basic areas, or the kids. Okay. So just straightforward basic stuff. Women can think about all those things at the same time, and on top of that, have emotions attached to all of them. Men, there really is a thing. I'm a biologist, so I got to describe this a little bit in biology.
Sure.
There is a difference between men and women's brains. And there is a thing in the brain called the corpus callosum that takes both halves of the brain. Okay, you have two hemispheres, and connects them. And it is thicker and more extensive in women than it is in men. And what that turns out to be is that women can use both sides of their brain as one brain, let's say.
So that's the logical side and the emotional side.
And the emotional side.
All that's together. But in men, typically, not all, but in men, typically, if I'm thinking logically, there's no emotions attached right now.
Right.
It's I'm logically thinking. If it's emotional, there's not much logic attached. So I've got to go from this point over to this point and over to this point. Kristen does this. A lot of times, I have no idea what she's talking about, and I'm trying to take this in. And I think what happens with a lot of men is most men I know are very simple in the way they think, just very straightforward. And most women I know are not.
Right.
So what happens is she starts to talk about these things that are really bothering her, and he has no clue because he can't take the action and put it with the like, okay, I get that I left my socks laying around, but why is she getting so upset about that? Well, she's not upset about the socks. She's upset about the fact that he's been leaving the socks for the last 10 years and doesn't respect her enough to pick them up, and that she's looking up behind him the whole time. And she feels like he's a child instead of being a husband. And all those things are attached to the socks. And he's just looking at the socks going, what the heck's wrong with the socks? I'll pick the socks up, fine. And so they're having a complete
beautiful analogy.
Well, I've seen it a lot.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, guys, you heard it. You heard it all. And next week, they're going to tell you where they are now, some of the challenges they may have now, and how they're tunneling through them. See you next week. This is DTM Real Talk, and we're just keeping it real. Thanks for watching DTM Real Talk. Be sure to join us for more conversation. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe while you're there.